Welcome to the Ford Steelers Extra Point.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside the KDKA TV studios. Bob Pompeani along with Hoke Bro 76, Mr. Chris Hoke. And we're here after another Steelers win as they take control of the AFC North. Winning, as you saw today, over on KDKA, 23-9 over the Cleveland Browns, who stunningly threw the ball 58 times today. I didn't think that was going to be part of what they were going to do, knowing that, you know, Quinshaw and Judkins came off a 110 rush game against Minnesota, and that's kind of what they were going to do, ease the quarterback in, I thought. Instead, it was Dillon Gabriel firing the ball all over.
Well, there's no question about it. The Steelers saw how well Judkins ran last week in London against the Vikings, and so now they say, okay, listen, we're going to put the 8 guys in the box. We're going to shut down the run and make Dillon Gabriel beat us. Threw the ball a lot. He didn't make many mistakes, but he was not able to move the ball consistently enough to score a lot of points.
Well, the name of this game, quite frankly, was Steelers defensively. They had 6 sacks on Gabriel. They put a lot of pressure, a lot of hits. And on the other side of it, the Steelers' offensive line did a good job, and really nice play calling, I thought, by Arthur Smith and company, because they rolled Rodgers out. He did not get sacked today, again, and they're doing a very good job. Whatever the formula they use, and Rodgers, when need be, made big throws. The one to Connor Hayward was a really nice throw on the run there, and it was a really good catch by Hayward as well. And then the one that was pump fake, and then DK Metcalf, 4th consecutive game with at least 1 touchdown. And that's the most of his career, so pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers really did a great job on the field, right? He's seeing blitzes coming, he's seeing coverages, he's checking at them, he's moving people around. Things we haven't seen here in Pittsburgh over the last few years since Ben Roethlisberger retired. But he's able to manipulate the defense and move everybody around, get the ball out quick, or hold on to the ball and get it down the field. We saw a couple times today. And so Aaron Rodgers really on the field is a coach, like having Arthur Smith on the sideline.
That's what he does. And again, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Steelers win. Couple that with a Baltimore Raven loss. Stunningly, the Ravens are 1-5. They only managed 3 points at home today, losing to the Rams 17-3. So we have a lot to talk about. When we come back, you're going to hear from head coach Mike Tomlin. He'll be live over at Acrisure Stadium. We got player interviews and plus your calls coming up a little later in this whole broadcast. We're just getting started. This is our Extra Point Show. We are live on KDKA+.
Steelers Extra Point is presented by RE/MAX Select Realty, voted the most trusted agents in real estate.
Welcome back. We continue right here with our Extra Point Show. Bob Pompeani, Chris Hoke with you until 6 o'clock tonight. Let's take a look at the AFC North standings. You're going to love what you see here because the Steelers 4-1 overall, a commanding lead over the Bengals, who they will play next. And then the Ravens at 1-5, the Browns at 1-5. So the division record is 1-0. We should clarify that. That's not the division loss. Should be 1-0 for the Steelers. So that's even better when you look at the Browns, you look at the Ravens, those conference tiebreakers, those division tiebreakers, those certainly matter. But, you know, the bottom line is the Steelers took care of business. And I love their very first play call because everyone thought, you know, what we saw in Ireland was going to carry over. Darnell Washington at one side helping out. Then you have Mr. Eligible, Spencer Anderson on the other. And they used that to their advantage because the very first play was a play-action fake, and it went to Darnell Washington, who rambled 36 yards down the field. That was a really good play.
Yeah, and then you saw later in the game, too, Arthur Smith called it, where you had the same play. Darnell Washington came on a short motion, took it up deep. You saw Jonnu Smith underneath, where then Aaron Rodgers checked it down to him real quick because they stayed with Darnell Washington. The difference, Bob, when we look at the standings in the AFC North, is a healthy quarterback. The 3, you know, the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, they don't have healthy quarterbacks right now. Their starters are out. If they can keep Aaron Rodgers, he's playing so well right now. Keep him clean, keep him upright in the pocket. His balls are on the money, something that nobody really saw coming into the season. People thought he was shot. He is surprising so many people in Steeler Nation.
Yeah, let's talk more about Darnell Washington, Mount Washington, because everyone expects him just to be a blocker or a short reception kind of guy, but he can turn it on, and when he does, very difficult to get him. He had that 36-yarder first play of the game, and then later he had a couple of nice plays as well, which set up a touchdown to DK Metcalf. So they're utilizing him more and more, and I like that because it's just a big target, especially they didn't have that opportunity in the red zone so much today. but he's another guy that you should look for in the red zone.
There's no question. It gives him another eligible, right? He's in there to run the football, but he can also be a mismatch on a linebacker. He's able to get out in the middle of the field. Aaron Rodgers can throw it high and get it to him. He's tough to bring down. He's always going to have yards after contact. And so he's a guy that you're going to see get the ball more and more and more. He's the reason why Pat Freiermuth is not getting as many balls right now, Bob, is because Darnell Washington can do so much. He's an elite blocker on the edge, so they can move grass, but also catch the ball and move the chains.
See, it's interesting that Freiermuth only got, I think, did he have one catch today?
One catch.
It happened later in the game. That and Jonnu Smith even, he made some plays, but he hasn't been in there as much as you would have thought based on how those guys were brought here and the contracts that they signed. Let's take a look at the scoring summaries. We may wait for Mike Tomlin, who will be here shortly live at his podium. Steelers win 23-9, and it was a field goal fest in the first half. That's all we saw, 9-3-3 for Ed Boswell. The only one he missed, his plant foot slipped on the turf there, and that was for 54 yards. Schmidt had a 31-yarder, and then in the second half, the Steelers kind of took control of this. Rodgers with the pass to Connor Hayward. That was a beautiful throw on the run, and really nice catch by Hayward to make it 16-3. A 53-yard field goal tightened it up to be a 10-point game. But again, the Steelers scored on another beautiful pass. That was from Rodgers to Metcalf, 25 yards. And boy, I felt bad for Campbell. They just brought him over in a trade. And they were picking on him today. And quite frankly, he started okay, I thought. But after that, it just was not his day as the Steelers continued to pick on him and Metcalf really making. And there was one where it could have been a big reception. Metcalf got by him. He slipped. Yeah, and he underthrew him. You don't see that often over there.
No, you don't. And here's the reality. He went as the Browns defense went. They played tough in the first half, and then they started to leak. They started to break, and the Steelers took advantage of that. I think, Bob, the breaking point really was that running into the punter. That was controversial. I think you can go either way on that. You saw Stronach knocked his guy into the punter, into the Waitman. That right there turned the tide for the Steelers. They went down and scored a touchdown, came back, scored another touchdown again, broke the game up, and broke the back of the Cleveland Browns. Yeah,
it led to a 10-play, 79-yard drive, and that featured the Hayward touchdown at the very end of it. He's a guy we haven't said too much about, but normally when you throw him the ball, he's going to make a catch, and that was a tight one. Very good coverage, I thought, by the Cleveland Browns on that play, but Rodgers put it in an area where only he can get it, and that was the difference in this game. Dylan Gabriel, on the other hand, you can tell he's a young kid with a lot of potential, though. He took a beating in there today, but from what you saw last week in Minnesota and this week, it's not a good start. They lost both games from that point of view, but I think you see some maturity in there.
What I like is he's making good decisions. He's not taking, he's trying to get the ball out. He's not turning the ball over. I don't think the receivers for the Cleveland Browns helped him out today. One that, rated by Pro Football Focus, however you think of that, Bob, but they rated the Cleveland Browns receivers as the worst in the NFL. I mean, they only at 60%. They today had 4 or 5 drops. How many times did you see the ball hit him in the hands, hit him in the face? And Njoku, Judy, not expecting the ball to come out quickly. That's the kind of, he's decisive. Dylan Gabriel, who's able to get the ball out. As they all get on the same page and he plays more, I think this offense will be a little bit more productive.
Yeah, and Harold Fannin Jr. had another one right down the sidelines, right in his hands, and he dropped that one as well.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at the quarterback comparison here as we wait for Coach Tomlin to make his post-game comments. 29-51. Now, that number could be, I've seen 2 different numbers on that, from 52 to 57, whatever the case. He threw the ball an awful lot, and you wouldn't have expected that from a rookie quarterback in only his second game. On the other hand, again, very efficient was Aaron Rodgers, 21 for 32, 35, 2 scores, no interceptions, 115.3. And right now, Mike Tomlin is at the podium. Let's take you there live at Acrisure Stadium.
I appreciate how the guys came off the bye. We didn't warm up to it. We had certain agendas that we thought were critical to making this game unfold the way we desired for it to unfold. We thought they'd play behind their runner. We wanted to do a good job of minimizing him, and I think we did that. When you do that, then you're in favorable one-dimensional passing circumstances for your defense, and I think that was reflected in the pressure that we were able to put on the quarterback. On the other side of the ball, we were able to stay on schedule and minimize those one-dimensional moments to minimize Myles Garrett's impact on the game. And so, like some of those agendas, man, that we had, we were able to get accomplished, and I think that's why we engineered victory. One area where we certainly fell short is the penalty component. We scout crews just like we scout teams. We know this crew throws a lot of penalties, and we drop the ball in terms of our preparedness there. I'll accept responsibility for that. We got to be better. You can't beat anybody when you're beating yourself, and I just felt like at times we did that today. And so we got to own that. We got a short week. We're chasing another AFC North pelt here in a short number of days, and so we respect the process. We got to work fast here in preparation for Thursday night. Got some bumps and bruises associated with play. The only one that's worth mentioning of any significance is Miles Killebrew. He's got a significant knee injury, and I'll have more updates for you, I'm sure, in the not-too-distant future about the details of that. Questions?
Mike, aside from those kind of couple leaky moments in Ireland, what's been the difference with your defense the last 2 weeks with the pressure and everything?
I just think we're getting a full complement of our weapons back, you know. In Ireland, man, we got 25 back. This week we got 56 back, 24 back. Everybody goes through injuries. I'm not seeking comfort in the lack of availability, but if you're asking me why is it starting to look the way that we desire, we got a full complement of talent. And when we put this band together, we feel like we can do things like you saw today.
On Tuesday, Mike, you mentioned how good Dillon Gabriel is at processing. I think you called it his superpower. What did you guys do to be kryptonite to that?
You know, we did a nice job with our pre-snap looks, but I think that's aided again by having, our secondary intact. And some of the things that we developed in Latrobe, man, you're able to execute when you got a full complement of guys. I thought they did a nice job with their pre-snap disguise. They didn't allow him to digest information prior to getting the ball in his hands, and that's the first component of slowing down the processing.
Mike, what led to some of the chunk plays in the passing game, and how impactful was that for you guys offensively?
I thought we ran the ball effectively. I think when you run the ball effectively, it tees up some of the action, the play action, and most of our chunks were born out of run action, and so it's really simple as that.
This run game has had now 2 100-yard rushing games. Just how much consistency have you seen them build over these last stretch here?
It's the overall trajectory of it has been what we desired. I've been talking about that, and we certainly start to see the result of that. But we got to keep rolling.
Did you see that the fact that Aaron Rodgers is a pretty grizzled vet, but do you think he's getting more comfortable with him molding the offense?
I certainly think that's a reasonable expectation with more exposure, whether you're young or old, experienced or inexperienced, particularly this collective journey that we're on. The more that you get an opportunity to play, certainly there's more comfort there.
Did you have Ramsey on any kind of pitch count? We're just being cautious with him, or just circumstantial when he came out?
We did, but we certainly wanted to make sure that he could impact the game. I cannot say enough about Jalen Ramsey, guys. This guy plays outside corner. He plays nickel. He plays free safety. He is exactly what we hoped he would be, and certainly he was significant today.
Coach, your thoughts on the performance of Darnell Washington today?
We've been very transparent about Darnell's role. We play 4-3 teams, man. We need a guy that looks like those 4-3 ends. It's a major component of our run game. Can't say enough about his efforts, and also Spencer Anderson. They're weight classes in combat sports for a reason. They got big people out in that C and D gap area, and so do we when we deploy those two guys, and it really gives us a fighting chance.
Coach Caleb Johnson saw a lot more playing time today. Can you talk about his play, more especially a young guy coming back after the mistake he made?
I don't want to get into all of that, man. He's a young guy. He's getting better. He's earning opportunities. There's a reasonable expectation for him to get better.
Anyone else? Mike, you mentioned Ramsey, but what kind of level is Herbig playing at for you right now?
He's playing at a pretty high level. That's why I introduced 12 defenders today.
Anyone? All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wondered about that too. 12 defenders, and that's the reason. Nick Herbig is all over the place. He had 2 more sacks today. I thought it was interesting that the CBS team did a very good job in going back to when Dillon Gabriel was in Hawaii along with Nick Herbig, and it was Herbig who was getting him all over the place. He had to have flashbacks today, Dillon Gabriel.
Herbig's biggest asset is his quickness off the ball. He is so explosive off the ball. Tackles don't have enough time to get back and kick back. He's able to get around that corner. Very, very quick. And right now, in my mind, he's the best pass rusher with the Steelers. Even with T.J. Watt out there on the field, Nick Herbig is a guy that you have to account for, which is going to open up now opportunities for T.J. Watt. How often do you hear that, Bob? When you hear T.J. Watt's opening up opportunities for other people, Herbig's going to open up opportunities for T.J. Watt and Highsmith and the other rushers because how explosive he is. He tends to make those big plays in the fourth quarter. He did that take 2 sacks in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and he moved him around a little bit. He was in the middle today. He was moving around. They're doing a lot of good and creative things both on offense and defense. It resulted in a 23-9 Pittsburgh win over Cleveland. By the way, that's 22 in a row. Regular season losses for Cleveland here in Pittsburgh. The streak goes on. 23-9 your final score. We'll have player reaction. And then later, your calls all coming up right here on Extra Point KDKA+.
Welcome back to the Ford Steelers Extra Point.
We continue with a look around the league here on the Ford Extra Point. The Rams went to Baltimore, and boy, I tell you what, they got offensive issues. They got tons of injuries, but still, the Rams beat them today in Baltimore 17-3. The Ravens fall to 1-5. Below that, you see the Chargers, a last-second field goal to go down to Miami and win that game 29-27. The Colts came back. They were trailing late in this game. Jonathan Taylor put them up for good 31-27. Indy is for real, and so are the Seahawks. They go on the road to Jacksonville, team which came off a very good performance the other day, and Seattle wins at 20-12. So, man, these week to week, you never know what you're going to get in this kind of situation.
Tough loss there for Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, you thought after last week's win that they were on to something, but then Seattle, they're hot. Right,
yeah.
Sam Darnold, kind of a rebirth of his
time.
career, right? I mean, the last 2 years, last year and this year, he's done a good job of reinventing himself because he struggled. He was kind of a journeyman there, Bob, after being a first-round draft pick and not panning out with his first team. Now goes out there. But I look at the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they just got to be so disappointed in Baltimore. All those injuries, don't know what to do at quarterback. I heard today they were chanting for Snoop Huntley to come out and play in this game. And so they just don't know what to do. They are reeling out in Baltimore.
Yeah, they have a bye week coming up, and then their schedule gets a little lighter, but they're just a matter of how many players are going to return after that bye week. And not only that, they're 1-5. That's a big hole to dig out from. All right, Jalen Warren was a running back who certainly, or Jalen Ramsey. We'll get to Warren a little bit later, but it's Jalen Ramsey first up. And as you heard Mike Tomlin talk about him lavishly with the kind of stuff he's done all over the place defensively, let's hear what he had to say after the game.
What do you think about the way you guys bottled up the run, and how much was that a key coming into this game?
It was one of our keys to victory, so obviously we got to watch the film to see exactly how we did. I'm sure it wasn't perfect, but it was definitely a key to victory, and I think we did well.
Jalen, what has been the key to the defense kind of having a stronger performance the last 2 games? Is it as simple as everyone's healthy, or is there more to it?
Being focused on the details, maybe a little bit more. Playing together, flying around. Still things to, fix. It doesn't look perfect out there, but it's a next play mindset. We go take play by play, and we just go get it.
How much did you guys want those last couple stops to keep them out of the end zone the entire day?
Oh yeah, that's always important in NFL games. You can keep an NFL offense out of the end zone. That's something to be proud of. It's something important.
Jalen, this is kind of a statement win for you guys. First AFC North game, just the way you guys play.
I would say it's an important win. I think every game is important, but obviously divisional opponent I think is a little bit extra important. I wouldn't say statement win, but it was an important game, obviously.
How did it feel to get in the backfield for 2 sacks?
Felt good. I'm going to probably tell my kids about this. I played in a game with T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, and I had 2 sacks. That's crazy, huh? That's crazy. So, yeah, it's my first time in my whole career having 2 sacks in 1 game, so that's pretty cool, too.
Do you know that was going to be part of the game plan going into this one, or is it just how the game unfolded?
Me blitzing or me getting a sack? It's always on the plate, I guess you could say. In my various roles and things that I play throughout the game, I never count it out, but I wouldn't say that it was, the exact plan to have me do that.
They threw it 52 times. Is that something that you guys anticipated throughout the week as well, them throwing it potentially that much?
No, definitely not. And that number's probably got inflated a little bit. Like, I know in the first half we were kind of low on numbers into that 2-minute drive, and that was like an 18-play drive. A couple penalties, a couple stuff here and there. That kind of was a lot of passes that drive, I would say, and then maybe one more drive in the fourth, I believe. Probably inflated those numbers a little bit, but definitely not something we expected.
All right, that's Jalen Ramsey. I love that comment. I'm playing in a game with T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, and I'm the one who gets 2 sacks for the first time in his career. He did. Tackles for losses, quarterback hits. He's all over the place. Chris, they brought him in with a thought that he can still do that. He's been with 4 teams, so a lot of people had doubts about maybe he can do this. His ability to adapt to different roles is not easy to do as a defensive guy. You know that well, and here he is doing those kinds of things and making plays.
And there's no question he's a game changer, right? He's electrifying when he gets out on that football field, and Coach Tomlin loves having him because of his versatility. But you look at today, Bob, this is the reason why Coach Tomlin's 27-6 against rookie quarterbacks now. And you look at Dillon Gabriel, and I remember one time them showing Coach Tomlin on the screen on CBS saying, hey, KDKA, he says pressure. He says pressure. I saw him lip that to Terrell Austin. They went out there and they called these pressures. These were corner blitzes. And Jalen Ramsey came unblocked. When a guy like Aaron Rodgers, a veteran quarterback, would see him creeping, Dillon Gabriel had so many things going on, he wasn't able to see him. And Jalen Ramsey creeping up to blitz, came unblocked. That was 2 sacks, 2 more QB hits. What a game and what a call throughout the game by Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, they really did, and their message was clear to their team: stop the run first, force the guy to pass, and that's exactly what they did. And a lot of that comes from pressure. Once that is established, and they can't move the line of scrimmage, the way they did. I think Judkins had 2.8 yards.
Minimal yards. I mean, Judkins had 12 for 36 yards, and last week he had 110 yards, and he was very explosive. He showed himself to be a home run hitter, and Steelers knew we stack the box, we make Dillon Gabriel try to beat us. He threw the ball 50-plus times, but the reality was they were very minimal, short passes. I think the biggest gain of the day was 18 yards. Steelers did a good job of keeping everything in front of them and big-time tackles on the second and third level. Yeah,
that debate that we always talk about, Myles Garrett versus T.J. Watt, was one-sided today. Myles Garrett had 1 tackle. That was it. Watt had 6 tackles, a half a sack, 3 quarterback hits, and a lot of other things that he was doing on the field. Let's hear from T.J. Watt in the locker room after the game.
It's a division game for you guys. You feel like this is kind of like a statement win, the way you guys want to play?
I mean, we want more turnovers. We feel like we played the run well. Obviously, you have to watch the film and stuff, but anytime you're able to get at the quarterback, make him one-dimensional, happy with the performance, happy with the win. Short turnaround. We have another game here in a couple days.
Are you surprised they threw so much?
It's tough. You never know each and every week. Obviously, if you're neutralizing the run, you have a young quarterback trying to see what you have, max protection, things of that nature, to see if he can get the ball into the playmaker's hands. And that was their plan that in. We did a good job of stopping him.
Jalen said he was going to tell his kids he had 2 sacks in a game that T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett played in.
He's a hell of an asset to us, and I'm just glad he's a part of our team.
How about what Nick was able to do out there today, along with Alex coming back?
Herb's a baller, man. I think you guys are just kind of getting hip to it, but we've known it for a long time, and the kid does everything right. We have a hell of a rotation. Obviously, Alex back. I think Sawyer's done some great things as well, so it's a deep room.
How much fun is it when the defense is kind of buzzing up like that and anyone can get into the backfield, it feels like?
It was huge. We know we have guys in the back end that can cover, so it allows us to have that extra second to get after the quarterback.
All right, T.J. Watt had his birthday this week, and certainly he had a nice birthday day today when you look at it. The tackles, this is double trouble. We always put Alex Highsmith along with T.J. Watt. We should probably make it a triple-double and include Nick Herbig, who now leads the team in sacks. But it was good to get Highsmith back, and they were really good off the line of scrimmage today.
Yeah, and you look at it right here, the reality was it was good to get Alex Highsmith back. I really was impressed at how he set the edge. A lot of times what Alex Highsmith doesn't show up on the stat sheet, Bob. He's really good at setting the edge, not letting running backs hit downhill, letting linebackers flow to the football, playing down the line, and he did that today. So it's great to have Alex Highsmith back. But you talk about T.J. Watt and Nick Herbig. If these 3 can stay healthy and they'll be able to rotate, and I ran it in there, Jack Sawyer, I saw had some good rushes today, they are going to be tough to move the ball on because those 4 guys can rotate and put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, you see Watt flying around, and it took a couple of guys. They were trying to add some people on his side of the football, chipping with running backs, tight ends, whatever the case may be, and he still would get around that.
But I was surprised that they let T.J. Watt, Nick Herbig go single against the tackle one-on-one, much more than I anticipated they would today. But they did at times bring him in critical moments. But there were many times, even when the backup came in, when Conklin went down, they went man-to-man, mano-a-mano. And T.J. Watt was able to take advantage of it. Nick Herbig took advantage of it, 2 sacks in the 4th quarter. So that's what you got to do. If they're not going to if they're not going to scheme around you and double up on you, you've got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and their offensive line is really struggling right now. They have injuries. They have a lot of unproven guys there, and the Steelers took advantage of that. We'll take a break, come back with more reaction to a Steelers 29 23-9 win today over the Browns. Again, Pittsburgh now 4-1 in really good command position in the AFC North. We'll continue right here on the Ford Extra Point.
Welcome back to the Ford Steelers Extra Point.
Aaron Rodgers, 2 touchdown passes. He's now talking over at Acrisure. Let's find out what he has to say.
He had a quick out conversion. He did a nice job with his late hands. I think the other one was just a quick out that, I thankfully put in a good spot. DB kind of tried to break on it, and DK made a play. The other, his third catch was on the shallow cross after I threw a bad one on the inside go. And his fourth catch was a nice little slant and go he ran.
How do you describe your first taste of true AFC North football, and especially getting away from that too?
Well, I think division games in the NFL are always different. Anything can happen. Been in a North division for 18 years of my career, 15 as a starter, so I know what those games are all about. Anything can happen. Definitely seems those games are always a little more physical than the other ones. I felt like it was a physical game. I think our defense was really getting after it. I was joking with PQ. Felt like he was trying to knock himself out there. He was drilling people. There was a lot of big hits on both sides of the ball. But any time you play in division games, really in the NFL in general, you take care of the football and you win the line of scrimmage, you're going to win a lot of those games. So I thought we did that today.
No sacks today. Rodgers got a lot of questions from this week about how you're going to handle 95. It seems like he got some help sometimes, but he also kind of handled his business on his own. What have you seen specifically maybe from him in terms of his growth these first 5 weeks of the season?
Well, I think he took, hopefully he wasn't reading it, but I feel like probably there's some negative, based on the questions I was getting, I think week 3, some negative thoughts out there about how he was playing. I got a lot of confidence in him. I really enjoy his energy. Sometimes I try and kick him in the ass a little bit in practice to, get going, but I like his positivity, and I like, he's always like the first one to come celebrate with me on the field. I appreciate that, and I appreciate, him rising to the challenge this week. Obviously, you're playing a generational type player like that. There's not going to be a ton of one-on-ones. We're going to, throw different things at him. I thought we did a good job with tight ends, various body types, and running backs out there trying to chip him just to kind of slow him down. But when he had singles, I felt like Broad, I got to look at the film, but it seems like he played pretty well.
You guys have been seeing a lot of too high coverages coming into this game. Just how did you try to take advantage when they did go to that super high coverage?
Throw it to DK. Yeah. Go ahead.
What were the keys going up against a tough Cleveland defense? You put up 23 points, and you probably could have had more.
Yeah, just patience. If you look at the film and the opponents and the way the games went, they have a great defense. And they played tough in all those games. The Detroit game got away from because of some turnovers. But I thought Dylan, took care of the football. We had some chances to pick the ball off and didn't. For the most part, that's a really good defense that's going to stand up most of the game. We just had to make the most of, a short field on one of them, then a couple of really nice sustained drives in the second half. We were better on third down than we had been previous weeks. We converted some third and longer ones. I think we're around 50% for the day. I'm not sure if the kneel downs took us under that, but it seems like we're right around 50%, which was good. First half drives stalled, but thankfully Boz, took care of those kicks before the field got borderline unplayable. So that was nice to get those touchdowns in the second half.
Aaron, what do you like in what you're seeing from the offense and how it's evolving here each week?
What's the second part?
The offense. What do you like about the offense and how it's evolving each week, it seems to be?
Well, I think we're playing pretty smart football. I think Art, got us into a good rhythm today. And when we take care of the football and don't turn it over, we're going to have a chance in any game. And then if we can control the line of scrimmage, we're really going to be playing downhill. I thought the key to the last 2 games has been first and second down. When we're efficient on those drives, we usually score points. When we're not, there's been some 3 and outs. So I like what we've done with Spence. I like, obviously, what we've done with Darnell. Seems like the more playing time he's out there, big things happen the first play of the game. I know he got the ball punched out, but he's a super talented guy for 6'8", and whatever he tips his skills at. I love having Darnell out there, just his energy, his presence, his body. he's made a big difference for us.
You mentioned the field there. Was it rough going pregame? Could you tell it was going to be rough pregame, or did it kind
I couldn't tell pregame. No, I just felt like it got real beat up. By the time the third quarter rolled around, that thing was really beat up. So I feel bad about what happened to Miles. I'm not sure if, if there was any carry there. I know the field gets a lot of play. I don't know why anybody wouldn't wear 7 studs. Cleats. Some guys are opposed to that. They just want to wear moldeds. But it reminds me a little bit of the field in Green Bay in the early years, but not until like November or early December, where it'd get kind of torn up a little bit. Then they went out. They found an incredible, field maintenance guy that come over and help our guys out. And the field in Green Bay is absolutely immaculate. But the field today got pretty torn up.
2 more. Aaron, during the week we asked you about momentum, and you said it's not about, coming out of the bye. You said it's more about the way you practice, the way good teams practice. I see evidence of us. Did you see that evidence on the field today? Do you get the sense? Do you feel fairly confident at this point that you guys are trending in the direction of being a good team and a factor in the AFC?
Well, that's where we want to be, and we're putting ourselves in a position, right, to start entering the conversation. But a lot can happen. There's a lot of time between now and December football. December football is when you want to be playing your best, but you also want to be healthy. And, we got some guys back today. I thought Joey played really well. Getting Alex Highsmith back was great. When you can throw Highsmith and Herbig and TJ at you, that's pretty tough for any offensive line. And, I think Deshaun's, him coming back on the back end has been a big deal for us. And, you go out and get guys like Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. I do want to make a point and talk about Ramsey, because what he did this week getting ready to play, I've been around the game a long time, and I've seen a lot of guys in a situation where you got a Sunday, Thursday, skip both games, where maybe they're 80%, 85%, but they want to be 100%, because I think there's a fear of failure almost that can paralyze them, where if I don't play my best game, then what does that say about me if I'm not 100%? I think some guys are scared to go out there and play. But for Jalen to go out there with everything he's accomplished in this league, I just can't say enough about the level of respect I have for him. Then he had, 2 sacks and pass breakups and tackles. And if there was any question about the type of person that he is, take away the incredible player, but person and teammate, I think he just showed all of us the kind of guy that he is by going out there and playing today.
Aaron, you guys saw some single high today and were able to get the downfield passing attack going. How did the run game kind of open that up, forcing teams out of too high and you starting to get that downfield passing attack working?
Well, teams want to play too high and rush with their front four, but I think Art's done a nice job the last few weeks of mixing the personnel groupings a lot, and some with Spence out there as an extra offensive tackle, and it puts some stress on the defense. If you would just want to play too high, because now we got some extra poundage there on the same side, especially when him and Darnell on the same formation alignment side. So I think Art did a good job of keeping them off balance, and we started it today with an action keeper that blew wide open, but Art's done a good job with the formations, and we throw a lot of things at him. Obviously, we're trying to keep DK out there as much, but we can do some Big 11 stuff and let Ben do some things. We can get our fast guys in there with Scotty and Roman and Cal when he comes back, or we can go big and play 3 or 4 tight ends at the time, and sometimes have Spence be that tight end. So a lot of credit goes to Art, Fredo getting those boys ready, and then I think Pat and Ike have done such a good job with the offensive line. There was a really smart group, one of the smartest groups I've been around, but they controlled the line of scrimmage today.
All right, thank you. We have DK coming in right now.
And any quarterback would appreciate that with a line of scrimmage and the way that offensive line is playing. He had nice praise there for Broderick Jones and what he's been able to do. You take a look at Rodgers' day here, 21 of 30, 235 with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, as I said before, a 115.3 quarterback rating. Yeah, I don't know about you, Chris, but he sounds like a coach. I mean, everything that he says, meticulous. He remembers the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4 catches that
I looked at
Metcalf
you when he said that. We
he
both looked at each other and thought, holy smokes. I mean, 4 catches, he knew every single one.
He knew when.
But I'll tell you what, if they can keep him clean, today, 30 passes, and he was only hit 3 times. That's Really, really incredible. 1/10 of the time. If he can do that all day long, and his balls are on the money because he's clean, that's what you can see. You know, people talked about him going to the Jets last 2 years, and didn't play very well. Now you're seeing where he comes to a team with a solid coaching staff, solid supporting cast. Look at the kind of throws he's making and how he's playing. It's pretty incredible.
All right, one of those 2 touchdowns to DK Metcalf. He's at the podium right now. Let's take you there.
The timing during practice, and us talking about the different DBs that we're going to go against throughout the week, and making sure we're both on the same page with how they play me, either press coverage, soft shoe, or if they hard jam, if they 2-hand jam or 1-hand jam, and just all those details about the DBs.
The 2 25-yarders that you had when you got to the line in both cases, did you feel like those were opportunities that were going to cash in? Did you think you had a chance of those 2?
Yes, sir. Especially when 8's in the gun, especially throwing the football. I always think I got a chance, especially with the way our O-line is playing. They're definitely giving them time back there to find the open guy downfield.
DK, with some of the personnel groupings you guys are using, you're able to start seeing single high, which allows you to get the downfield attack going. How has that kind of opened things up for you, not just in the yards after catch game, but also catching those deep balls on those fade routes and the 9 routes?
I think it's pretty much the run game, opening up, all those middle of the field throws or on the outside throws, because they got to stack the box to try to stop the run. Like I said, I keep giving praise to our O-line for, either pass blocking or run blocking, because they go against some heavy hitters week in and week out, and they're holding their own every week.
What did you see click with that group, especially in the third quarter? You had several 9, 10, 11-yard runs, and that seemed to open up more of those play-action passes that came together for you guys.
I think it's just wearing the defenses down, whether they're, handling the 4-down linemen, then pushing up to the second level, getting hands on linebackers to where, we got strong running backs in Kenny G, Caleb, and Jalen Warren, who can, break tackles from 1, 2, 3 guys, when they want to. So just kudos to, our running backs and our O-line.
How exciting is it for you as a vet to see a line with 3 second-year guys and a third-year guy playing this well against a team that was the #1 run defense going into this game?
It's no surprise, because I see them and the way that they work and handle their business throughout the course of a week. They're always hanging around each other, always joking. I always see them in the weight room early in the morning, and they're serious about their work when we strap up and hit the field. So I commend them for that.
How do you describe your first true taste of AFC North football?
It was football at the end of the day. They couldn't beat us today, so got another one Thursday, and hoping to do the same thing.
Darnell was another guy who had a big game. I would say, at what point in the game did you know he was going to be heavily involved? But it was the first play, so I'll say, what point in the week did you know that he was going to be a big part of this one?
Yeah, Mike T, teed us up for Darnell to have a big game today. He kept, putting up Myles Garrett or, other D linemen, saying that he had the opportunity to block those guys, and when he got in space, he's a very big, unmovable object whenever he has the ball. So just put the ball in his hands and let him do the rest.
I'm guessing you're not used to lining up at fullback like you did today?
You said what?
I'm guessing you're not used to lining up at fullback like you did today?
Why you say that? My stance wasn't good enough? I thought it was good personally, but yeah, that was my first time being back there. The view was a little wicked, but I like being outside the numbers.
Yeah, he did line up in the backfield, and when we saw that, I said, what is going on there? But how about DK's day? Well, you see it. He hasn't had a whole bunch of receptions, like big numbers, but every time he seems to be targeted in a critical situation, he comes up with big plays. And then when he starts running, look out. 4 catches, 95 yards. That's a healthy average right there. And the touchdown, which was beautifully thrown by Aaron Rodgers. And
I look at that 9 targets, some missed opportunities there, right? He was open for a touchdown that Aaron Rodgers underthrew. But you look at the chunk plays, 25-yard catch, 19-yard catch, 25-yard catch, and then a 25-yard TD catch, Bob. And those are big chunk things that you like to see from a guy you're paying, $150 million? He is now starting to produce. He's getting into form, and I believe that you'll see him getting more and more balls. I mean, one time Aaron Rodgers threw the ball only where he could catch the ball, and he caught it. And great coverage by the corner. I believe this show is just beginning here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Honestly, when you think about it, again, 4 games in a row with a touchdown reception, and the confidence and the communication, everything is on pace to become very good in this league, as they're 4-1 after 5 games. And I think, like you said, they're just getting started. It seems like they're warming up to this, and the offense continues to churn out better performances. And we'll see what happens on Thursday night when they have to make a trip to Cincinnati. We have more coming up right here on our Ford Extra Point Show. Steelers win today 23-9 to get the 4-1. We'll come back with more, and soon we'll take your phone calls and your opinions on what you saw today and maybe what you look ahead to see for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's all yet to come.
Welcome back to the Ford Steelers Extra Point.
All right, welcome back. Now it's time to take a look at the final stats. If you look at this, you may have thought, it was a lot closer than it was. I thought the Steelers carried the play a lot today. Those 10 penalties, something that frustrated Mike Tomlin because they've been one of the leaders when it comes to least penalties in games, but that changed a little bit today. Third down conversions need to get better, but overall, it's a complete win when you consider the physicality of this game. A lot of guys went down with injuries. You heard Aaron Rodgers talk about the field condition, which, man, Chris Boswell attempted that 54-yarder and that plant foot went down, and I thought, that could be scary, but he survived that. Hopefully he'll be fine for Thursday night. In the meantime, while Connor Hayward got in the end zone today, let's hear from Cam Hayward, who did a very good job with that defensive line today against the Browns.
How close was that to just how good you guys can be?
I'm looking at it in a vacuum. I think we can just continue to keep getting better. I thought we did a good job on the run game, but there's still things we got to strive for. Third down in the second half, I thought we need to be better. Penalties, whether they were wrong or right, they were called, and we still got to get some more turnovers. A couple times the ball was batted up in the air, and we just didn't finish those plays. But overall good performance, but we still got work to do.
Is this what this defense is expected to look like at full strength? It's the first time you guys were at full strength.
I thought we just great communication today. I think that starts with 6. I thought Patrick got the calls out, and then it reverberates all over the field. But execution has to take, ownership. And I thought, especially with this game plan and understanding that they love to run the ball, we attacked that.
Ramsey said he's going to tell his kids that he had 2 sacks in the game with TJ and all you guys out there.
Yeah. We don't care where it comes from. We are concerned with winning. And, when you got a guy like Jalen who is, there's nothing he can't do on the field. And so, we're very lucky to have a guy like that.
I know all wins are important, but is it even maybe a little more important to play like today and win this game on a short week with another division game?
AFC North games are, critical, and we're trying to win as many as possible. This is a good start, but Thursday comes very quick.
Ken, what can you say about Derek and what he's done so far, especially in this game? He was making plays in the run and against the pass, also chasing guys downfield after reception.
Yeah, I thought you're talking about Derek Harmon, right?
Yes, sir.
I just thought he'd played with great hands, got off blocks. 4 technique is not an easy job, and he's playing at a high level, and he's just going to keep getting better.
What's helping with you guys in the run game?
All right, leading tacklers today, Deshaun Elliott was everywhere. And you talk about the guys that Omar Khan has brought in this offseason. They're all making big plays at big times. Of course, Patrick Queen was last year's free agent signing. He was up there along with Juan Thornhill against his former team. Peyton Wilson did a good job, and Ramsey, where he continues to get all that praise. And, I remember at the beginning of this week, we were thinking he's going to be out for a couple of games, as Aaron Rodgers suggested. Next thing you know, he's not only back on the field practicing, but he goes from doubtful to questionable, and then he's in the lineup. It says a lot for his willingness to put himself on the line, even where he may not be 100%.
You notice the last 2 weeks, Steelers have been playing lights out defensively. I don't think it's a coincidence that Deshaun Elliott's out there now playing. He does a good job of communicating. He's a big hitter, big heavy helmet out there on the back end of this defense. So he is one of the reasons why this thing has turned. I think also is you're seeing a lot of the players kind of rounding into shape, Bob. They're starting to get the rust off from not playing in August, and now you're a month into the season, 5 weeks into the season, and now you're looking at a team that's playing fast, that's playing confident, and playing physical, and that's this defense right now. Let's hope they can keep some guys healthy, and a lot of these guys that got banged up today will be ready for Thursday night against the Bengals.
Yeah, and that would include Calvin Austin, who did not play, but Alex Highsmith was back after missing some time with an injury. He spoke after the game.
Oh, great. Just be back out there with the guys, getting after it. Just a great feeling. So I'm just, all focus is for Thursday at Cincy. So I'm just glad we were able to get the dub at home.
6 sacks today. What was the key for you guys to get after Gabriel?
Yeah, I think we had a good plan going into it. We had a lot of different games that we ran. A lot of guys beat their guys, and so we just got to continue to get after it, week after week. And so we just got to look at the good things we did today and take them to Thursday.
First time this defense is at full strength. Is this kind of what we should expect from you guys are all healthy out there together?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a bunch of dogs on our defense, and so we got a bunch of great players, and so depth at every position. And so, like I said, I was just happy to be back out there with the guys, out there getting after it. So, looking forward to Thursday.
How important is it to get a win like this, especially the way you guys played on a short week?
It's huge because you always want to come out in your first division game and make a statement. I think we did that today. Obviously we didn't play perfect. There's some things that we can get better at. But to come out and get this first one at home versus division opponents is huge, and then get 2 in a row in 4 days will be huge. So we got to have all our focus on Cincy.
All right, that's Alex Highsmith, and we talked a lot about Jalen Ramsey. But another Jalen was back in the lineup. He missed some time. Jalen Warren did not play in that Dublin game, but he was out there today, and boy, he runs hard. Let's hear what he had to say after the game.
Like what you guys were able to do, offense, how it complemented kind of each other here today.
Yeah, that's the ball we play in Pittsburgh, and it showed out there.
I'd imagine you guys aren't surprised, but how effective you guys, maybe not the stats are there, but how effective you are running the ball against one of the top run defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I knew, with the camaraderie we have as a team, the chemistry, I knew, we just all did our 111 that, it would come out our way.
What have you guys been opening up the run game over the last couple of weeks?
Our props to the linemen. The linemen been really working hard. Our receivers are blocking, and so props to all of them. They're the ones that make it happen.
How about what Jones did against Myles Garrett here today? Broderick.
Yeah. What he did against Myles.
How you guys handled Myles Garrett.
It was very quiet on that side, and that just shows goes with our preparation.
A lot of guys were talking about being an important game. Is this almost like a statement type game? First AFC North game heading to Cincinnati on a short week.
Yeah, it is. We come in this game with a chip on our shoulder, onto the next.
Is it important for you guys not to be able to run the ball and not be one-dimensional, especially against the front and the pressure packages?
Yeah, 100%. We run the ball effectively, opens up the pass game. As you've seen, we dumped the DK, and then they got up in too high, then we were able to run the ball.
Jalen, you guys come out in the third.
All right, Jalen Warren got back after missing last game in Ireland. 11 carries, 52 yards. He just runs hard every time, and it takes 2 or 3 guys to bring him to the ground. This run game, we talked about it. I wasn't sure how they were going to divvy up all the snaps today, but we saw Caleb Johnson also get in there, and it's good to see him in there. He was running hard when he got a chance to.
Yeah, and they rotated those guys pretty good. What I loved about Jalen Warren was he is not a small running back. He is compact, he is physical, he's explosive, and not only does he make guys miss, he's able to run over guys. But how many times did we see him carry 3 or 4 yards, these defenders for the Cleveland Browns in this game today? He had a lot of 8, 9, 10-yard runs. Really, really excited about getting him back. Hopefully, he comes out from this game and no dings and can play Thursday night and keep this 3-headed monster, if you will, at running back, because really liked what we saw today. 100 yards against the defense that was holding teams to 75 yards a game, number 1 in the NFL. I thought they did a good job of putting the Browns on their heels. Short week coming up as the Steelers now will head to Cincinnati on Thursday. The Packers are hosting the Bengals right now, and they lead that game 3-0. So let's take a look at the Ford road ahead. It's a Thursday night trip to Cincinnati. And again, some of these guys are banged up. If you heard Mike Tomlin, he said Miles Killebrew is the only significant injury. He has a knee injury. But the other guys left the game, came back into the game. They're going to need everyone to go against Higgins and Chase, even with Joe Flacco as their quarterback. And he's their new guy there, and he's playing today. Then it's Green Bay, and that's a Sunday night here in Pittsburgh at 8:20. The Colts, who won again today, they'll be here on November the 2nd. That is Hall of Honor weekend, an alumni day for the Steelers, and then it's at the Chargers. So this schedule does start to pick up, especially October the 26th and after that. The one thing about Joe Flacco in Cincinnati, he knows how to beat the Steelers. He knows the Steelers defense very, very well. He knows the weakness, he knows the strength, he knows the scheme. So it's going to be interesting with him still having the arm, can throw the football. If they could protect him, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, it could be a tough game for the Steelers. Yeah, but their offensive line is really. There's no question about it. Bad things for Joe Burrow. He's been out. He's missed a lot of time. But he gets rid of the ball quick. He does. And Mike Tomlin's always said
Watch out for Joe Flacco when he gets in the game. So that trade happened this week, and he's now the starting quarterback with the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, that's going to wrap up this program. Thank you for joining us on the Ford Extra Point. When we come back, we're going to take your phone calls. It is a special Steelers edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. It's next right here on KDKA+.